class. Welcome to ADJ 111. If you've had any of my other classes, you've seen this similar look today, and I just want to kind of span around. I'm sitting on top of a rock. If you look down, quite a big drop off. I told some other classes about a 20-foot bounce to those other rocks, and then a couple 100-foot fall after that, so hopefully that won't happen while I'm videoing. Down below in that valley, way down there, it's about 93, 94 degrees, 74 degrees where I am right now, so I'm pretty high up in the air. Just want to welcome you to ADJ 111 and one of the videos that I'm shooting today, and I'm going to talk about Chapter 6, but Week 6 as well. If you would read Chapter 6 and look over the PowerPoint, we'll look over just a little bit of it today. Chapter 6. Reply to your classmates' your original post and do your mini homework set. On reply to your original post. Hopefully last week you created an original post, and on that original post you had a reference, and it was well written. It contain the minimum word count or greater. This week, choose two classmates, do a post for those, please, and for each one of those, and a citation or a reference for each one of those. That would be great. Chapter 6, I'm going to hit a couple of highlights and throughout the PowerPoint here. And a lot of times we'll look, especially police agencies and specialization, how do we divide the labor? So I used to work for a little tiny sheriff's department. The sheriff's department did not have a jail, but it did have court service, and then it had road patrol. Only 13 people. So division of labor wasn't that much if you think about it. Do we have a juvenile bureau, auto squad bureau, a narcotics bureau? No, we couldn't. We had 2 or 3 guys that worked courts and served the civil papers. We had everyone else that worked the road, or just about everybody else that worked the road, and 2 folks that actually worked investigations. One of those worked investigations regular and investigations narcotics, and was on the multi-jurisdictional narcotics task force. So division of labor at a small place like that. I worked for a lot larger agency that I mentioned in my bio, and there not only did we divide tasks, but even within a precinct we had police officers that were regular road patrol officers and community policing officers, specialization there. And then you could specialize maybe into being a property crimes detective or a fatal accident crash member. You worked all fatal accident crashes. Maybe you were on the motorcycle unit, maybe you were on the boat squad, maybe you were robbery or homicide or auto squad. Many different types of specialization. So the specialization fits the organization itself, I believe. And in that, we have the principle of hierarchy, and the principle of hierarchy looks at basically a top-down organization. Who is the boss of whom, and typically a couple of different terms come into play. Unity of command typically means that there's a boss at the top, and maybe that boss has 2 people working for that boss, but they're only responsible to that boss. That's who they go to. And on those 2 people below the big boss, maybe the one of those 2 has about 5 people working for them. They're only responsible to the boss above them and the boss above them. So you're never responsible for more than one person directly up that line, and that's a hierarchical type of command, not a flat organization mentioned in the chapter, but a hierarchical command, and that also talks about unity command, that only one person, you're only responsible to one boss, so you report to only one boss. Span of control, or span of management is the way this book says it. Span of control is how many people does a boss typically have, and a lot of times we'll look at a police organization. Many of you are in the Tidewater area type of police organizations or sheriff's departments. And we typically look at first-line supervisors maybe having between 6 to 12 individuals. 12 gets a little bit difficult, but 6 to 12 different individuals they may be responsible for. Think about a first-line supervisor and primary responders, first responders. If you had 30 or 40 people working for you, would you be able to keep up with what goes on the street and keep up with those people? I think the answer is probably no. It gets tough with 6 to 12. And then that person's boss, so that's a sergeant, so maybe we call a first-line supervisor a sergeant. That sergeant may be pooled and work for a lieutenant. That lieutenant may have 3 or 4 or 5 sergeants working for them. And if you think about it, that makes sense that you don't have that many sergeants working for a lieutenant as they do first lines. And here's why. That lieutenant has, let's say, 4 different sergeants. Those sergeants have 10 people, so the lieutenant in effect has about 44 people working for them, not directly, but indirectly through those first lines. And so the paperwork flow, you can just imagine that paperwork flow as you move higher and higher in the organization. That's why you have less people that you actually are the boss of. And trying to make my video work here. You'll also see that there is a how do we set an organization up? How do we place an organization? And when we typically police departments, we have precincts. In precincts, when we have zones, you may call it a different thing in the a different name in the organization that you work for, but we have those precincts and zones, and they're typically geographical areas that may be distinct for geography. Just like if you had to patrol that area way down there, it would be a little bit different than maybe a city, and within that geography we may even split it up into what area gets the most calls, and so that area might be smaller, and the area that gets very few calls is a lot larger, but not too large for one person to patrol. And so that's mentioned in your book as well. We're going on 6-7 minutes for this first video. So hope you're having a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the discussion boards.